The night is quiet, but the drama, oh darling, it's never been louder. You may have forgotten all about your favorite nighttime soaps, but Miss Kane, she never did. She's been watching all the affairs, the betrayals, and the big hair, and now she's here to tell you everything you missed, or perhaps just forgot. This is Drama After Dark. Slip into something comfortable, and let's catch you up.
Don't just watch the scandal, darling. Subscribe and join the drama every Friday.
All right, darlings, picture this. We're at the ranch, with Jock Ewing riding like he's still 25, bless his heart. Ray's right there with him, while some ranch is circling in a helicopter like this is a Marlboro commercial. Can you believe it? But Jock, oh honey, he's not letting anyone else chase down those strays. He's out there proving he's still the cowboy king of Southfork. In his mind, age is just a number, and pride rides first, of course. Cut to the poolside, where the ladies are playing high society. Sue Ellen is thriving, running the fundraiser committee like it's the governor's ball, with Miss Ellie keeping it all civil, naturally. Pam is sitting there trying to smile her way through a committee that feels more like a cotillion rehearsal. Then she dares to mention calling Bobby for lunch, and Sue Ellen shuts it down with her pearls of wisdom about what men like. That wasn't a vice, that was a boundary, plain and simple. Pam thanks her politely, but the sting is clear as day. This isn't the family talking, this is Sue Ellen marking her turf. Southfork society is her world, and Pam is still being reminded she doesn't quite belong. Poor thing. Anyway, Pam calls Bobby at the office, bless her heart. He answers, and he's just tickled to hear her voice, but cuts it short. You know, too much Ewing oil business, piled up on his desk. He hangs up, nothing settled, and maybe, just maybe, Sue Ellen had a point after all, didn't she? Bobby goes back to those files, stunned at all that raw land the company owns, with nothing on it but sagebrush. He's thinking about the possibilities, but JR shuts him down with busy work. Go chase derricks, go talk to freight lines, anything to keep him out of the real meetings. Bobby insists he's a full partner now, but JR leans on that big brother authority, and Bobby walks right out. Oh, the timing? No accident, darling. The second Bobby's gone, Ames and Gas stroll right in. JR lights up, ready to wine, dine, and steam bath his way through the real business. Bobby's out of the loop, exactly how JR planned it, the sly devil. Sue Ellen's making sure JR pays for rolling in at 4 in the morning, bless his heart. She's banging drawers, slamming doors, and when he complains, she cuts him cold. She does, says if you're coming home that late, you might as well just stay out. JR mutters about business, but Sue Ellen smells the truth, doesn't she? He reeks a fleur de printemps, and none of it came from her. No siree. At the bedroom door, Miss Ellie's ready to head out. She asks Miss Ellie if Pam's coming, and Sue Ellen can't hide her relief when the answer is no, can she? She puts on her polite voice, says she's tried to involve her, then slips in the dagger. Pam just doesn't fit in, does she? Later, by the pool, Pam's swimming while Bobby hovers, like his suit is worth more than gold. Isn't it always the way? She teases him, and for a moment it's playful, until she mentions lunch with Liz Craig, her old boss. Bobby stiffens. He presses. Pam calls Liz a friend, and then the truth comes out. Liz wants her back at work. Pam asks if that's so bad. Bobby doesn't answer. Instead, the phone rings, and he dives straight into business. Talking power, deals, construction, everything except his wife's question. That silence and that call say it all, don't they? Bobby's already gone in his head, leaving Pam by the pool, wondering if her place is really hers at all. Well, Bobby catches Jock out on the ranch, does he? And asks for a word alone. Ray hints maybe Jock should slow down, says he's been pushing himself a bit too hard. But Jock just brushes it off, doesn't he? Instead, he starts carrying on about Ellie's daddy, old man Southworth. Hated oil, he did. Thought it ruined the land and stank up the air, and believed cattle was the only honest way to live off the range. After all these years, Jock admits the man had a point, bless his heart. That's when Bobby lays it all out, doesn't he? The Ewings own a lot of land, and he wants to use it. Not for oil, mind you, but for construction. Jock tells him to talk to JR, but Bobby shakes his head. He's not asking about another oil deal. He wants a whole separate company. And then the truth just slips out. He can't work with JR anymore. Doesn't like saying it, but it's true, isn't it? Jock pushes back, of course. Says he should stand up to his brother, demand his share. But Bobby knows better. JR keeps everything so close to the vest, there's no way in. He could fight JR every day, but he doesn't want it that way. What he wants is his own chance. Away from JR's shadow. Jock doesn't like it one bit, calls it running out, but Bobby won't wear that. Reminds his daddy he's never run out on anything in his life. Then he makes it plain. He's catching a plane to Houston, he is. He's checking this out, and he'll let Jock know how it plays. Well, look who it is. Jock finds JR lounging by the pool, nursing that hangover like he's on banker's hours. Can you believe it? JR brags about being out with Ames and Willie Joe Gare, but Jock cuts him down quick, says those two are about as trustworthy as rattlesnakes. JR just shrugs it off, goes on about business, but Jock isn't buying it, not one bit. He asks where Bobby fits into all this, and when JR brushes it off, Jock lowers the boom, says he just talked to Bobby, and his boy is so fed up he's ready to quit Ewing Oil altogether. JR plays innocent, says that's the first he's heard of it, but Jock doesn't let him slide. He wanted his sons to work together, and that's not happening, is it? JR tries to argue. Bobby needs more experience, calls him impulsive, but Jock won't have it. He reminds JR, this is a family business. Bobby deserves to be in every meeting, to know every detail. The tension rises, voices tightening. Jock presses harder, demanding answers, and JR fires back that when Jock told him to run Ewing Oil, he said he could handle it any way he saw fit. Jock starts to push again, but then it happens. His words falter, his body gives out. JR freezes, calling for help, panic cutting through his smooth veneer. The patriarch of Southfork is down, and nothing will be the same after this, I tell you. Sue Ellen is in her element at the ladies' luncheon, already dictating this year's dance theme. Pioneers, like it's written in stone. She's rattling off committees for centerpieces, hors d'oeuvres and punch, basking in her role as chairwoman. Miss Ellie humors her, until the mood shifts. A message comes through. Lucy is on the line from Southfork. Ellie picks up, steady as ever, but the questions touch sharp. Who was in the ambulance? Was anyone there? Call Bobby at the office. Get Ray on standby. Lucy stumbles, but Ellie keeps her calm, even reminding her where the office number is kept by the phone. By the time she hangs up, the party planning is forgotten. A real crisis is unfolding. Across town, Pam is at lunch with Liz Craig. Liz is telling her over-the-top stories about cigar ashes and men promising to lay New York at her feet. Pam laughs, but when pressed, admits the truth. She loves Bobby, but life at Southfork is stifling. Liz says it outright. She's bored. Pam agrees, bored to death. Liz offers her a place back at the store, dangling independence. But before Pam can answer, a waiter interrupts. There's a call waiting for her at the front desk. And suddenly, Pam's quiet discontent is about to crash into Southfork's emergency. Well now, at the hospital, the family's gathered, bathed in that awful fluorescent light, awaiting news that's grim as can be. JR, bless his heart, is chasing after them doctors, begging for answers. Seems like Jock's just barely hanging on, poor thing. Then Miss Ellie arrives, strong as ever but looking a bit shaken, and Dr. Danvers rushes in to take over. JR, he's insisting he did everything right. Got on the phone quick as a whip, just stumbling over himself trying to explain. Ellie tries to soothe him. Sue Ellen backs him up, but the way he keeps going on, you can hear the guilt tripping off him. Then Pam comes in, breathless, asking what's happened. Ellie explains it all. Jock's taken sick, and the doctor's with him now. And then, Sue Ellen asks what we're all thinking. Where's Bobby? And there's JR, with his daddy barely breathing, smirking like the cat that got the cream, saying Bobby's probably off complaining somewhere.
Oh honey, that's JR in a nutshell, innit?
His father's heart's giving out, and he still can't resist making it about Bobby's so-called weakness. Petty don't even begin to cover it. That's poison wrapped up in a fancy suit, that is. Right then, back at the ranch, Lucy does just as she's told, bless her heart, goes looking for Ray, trying to keep him on standby, she does. Finds him out by the stables, waiting on a mare that's due to fall any day now. But Lucy's not really there about them horses, is she? She's scared, shaken to her core, and she blurts it right out. Hold me, Ray. I don't want to grow old, not one bit. Ray tries to soothe her, tells her she's a long way from old, the silly man. But Lucy pushes back, doesn't she? Never thought of her granddaddy as old either, and now she's convinced he's dying, poor thing. The fear makes her selfish, needy as can be. She tells Ray she needs him, that she just wants to feel alive, that's all. It's messy, it's raw, and it's pure Lucy, through and through. While everyone else is holding vigil at the hospital, she's clinging to Ray, trying to turn her fear into comfort, in the only way she knows how, the cheeky thing. Back at the hospital, Dr. Danvers delivers the words nobody wants to hear: coronary insufficiency. Miss Ellie presses him for answers, but there aren't any yet, love. The equipment here isn't enough. His blood pressure won't stabilize, and Danvers wants him moved to Dallas Memorial. Ellie doesn't hesitate. She's not standing around talking when her husband's life is on the line, is she? Sue Ellen tries to ease the room, asks if Jock will be all right through the night, but there's no comfort in Danvers' face. Pan speaks up. Has anyone even tried to reach Bobby? And that's when JR shows his teeth, doesn't he? He snaps that Bobby doesn't care. Not after the way he came at Daddy earlier, and maybe Pam put him up to it. Can you believe it? Pam fires right back, furious. Is he really trying to make her responsible for Jock's heart attack? Sue Ellen steps in, tries to cool the fire, but the damage is done. Jock's life hangs in the balance, and JR is already picking scapegoats. Honestly, Pam doesn't waste another breath on him. She turns to the operator, asks for Houston. She's going to find her husband herself. Well now, at Dallas Memorial, the tension finally eases just a smidge. Dr. Danvers comes out bearing news. Jock's out of pain, bless his heart. His blood pressure stabilized, and he's even complaining. And honey, if Jock's cranky, you know he's still kicking. JR's been pacing the floor like a caged cat, but he tries to play it off when Ellie notices. Sue Ellen even teases that he hasn't sat down since they arrived. For once, JR apologizes to his mama, but it's then he's still wound tighter than a drum. Ellie presses for answers. What's next then? Danvers says testing, lots of it, to find out exactly what happened. They can see Jock later, but only for a few minutes at a time. Pam offers to pick Bobby up from the airport, a quiet way of keeping him in the loop despite JR's digs. Ellie insists she's not leaving Jock's side, asks for a room right there at the hospital. Danvers gently talks her down, tells her she'll do more harm than good keeping around the clock vigil. So for now, they wait. The patriarch of Southfork is still with them, but the shadow of what almost was is hanging over every word. Well, look at this. On the hospital steps, Garen aims. They're just hovering like vultures, and Bobby spots them right away. Before he even asks about Jock, he throws it at JR, making secret deals while their daddy's inside. JR fires back that Jock's in trouble because of Bobby's wild schemes. Bobby snaps it was JR who pushed him, that Jock collapsed arguing with him. Sue Ellen tries to break it up, but they're too far gone. JR says Bobby's impulsive. Bobby says JR keeps him locked out. And then, oh, the hammer falls. Bobby accuses JR of dumping their father in a 2-bit hospital without calling a doctor. Pan steps in, urging Bobby to see Jock, but the damage is done, in it. That's when Gara and Ames slide forward, all concern on the surface, business underneath. Yesterday it was steam baths and promises. Today it's the red file and cartel votes. JR claims business is the last thing on his mind, but they leave him with the reminder, call us soon.
The drama sparkles best when you're part of it. Subscribe and stay close, like a whispered secret. Leave a comment, tell us what has you gasping, because every scandal deserves an audience.
Well now, the next morning at Southfork, Bobby's done traded his fancy suit for some good old work boots. Ray, bless his heart, teases him about giving up that air-conditioned office for sweat and dust, but Bobby just says it's high time he learned more about this here side of the family business. Ray welcomes the help, of course, and Bobby, he settles right into the role, determined to shoulder what Jock just can't. Then here comes Pam, looking all over, asking Miss Ellie where Bobby's got to. Ellie tells her he's out working with Ray, filling in for his daddy. Pam admits Bobby's been feeling guilty, blaming himself for Jock's sickness. But Ellie, she cuts her off with a quiet firmness, says no one's at fault except Jock, who never was one for doctors, was he? Pam presses on, still worried for Bobby, but Ellie, she don't bend. She's got more on her heart than just that. Then, she delivers the line that just lands like a charge. Pam, you're a Ewing now. Bobby is your responsibility, love. With that, Ellie heads off to the hospital, steady as ever, saying Jock likes to see her there when he wakes. Her strength, it just fills the silence she leaves behind. And Pam's left staring at the weight Ellie just placed squarely on her shoulders. Oh, listen at him. At the hospital, Jock is grumbling like only he can. Millions spent saving his life, and now the hospital food is what's gonna kill him. Ellie soothes him, says it ain't that bad. Harlan just wants a few more tests, then he can come home. Jock presses, asks if they'll have to open him up. Ellie's calm, tells him they don't know yet, but the best cardiac surgeon in the state is on the way. Jock nods, then shifts the talk homeward. How are things at Southfork? Ellie says the same as usual, except Bobby's been out working with Ray, stepping in while Jock recovers. That shakes something loose. Jock admits it. Sometimes he worries he hasn't been a good father, that he could have done better by Bobby. Ellie won't let that thought settle. She reminds him JR has done wonders with Ewing Oil, and Bobby's working the ranch. Maybe that balance is what they needed all along. But Jock isn't done. He tells Ellie if he can't, she has to keep the family together. Ellie hushes him, reminds him nothing's going to happen. She recalls when her daddy gave them 5 years together, how they built a family, raised their boys, and still stood side by side. Jock softens, says it plain. It's been a very good life. Well, out by the corral, Ray's teasing Bobby about all the energy Pam's putting into a saddle, saying maybe he ought to take a closer look in it. But Bobby just brushes it off and asks about news from the hospital, as if. Pam's done with the small talk. She wants a word, and she don't care if he's working. She goes straight in, doesn't she? Says, "Why didn't you go see Jock yesterday?" Bobby stiffens up, says his daddy doesn't need a crowd. Pam won't let it slide. He's hardly a crowd, and he knows it, the silly sausage. Bobby snaps, asks if she came all the way out just to remind him to see his father. He doesn't need reminding. Pam pushes harder. What's he afraid of? Bobby bristles, says he's never been afraid of Jock in his life. Then the real truth cracks open, doesn't it? Pam asks what he's trying to prove out here, and Bobby says somebody has to do it. But the guilt won't stay hidden. He blurts out that he could have killed Jock. Pam won't have it. She tells him it wasn't his fault, but Bobby won't hear it. He tries to send her back to the house, to shut the conversation down. But Pam stands her ground. Bless her heart. She tells him nobody could have stopped what happened, and more than ever, the family needs him now. Back at the hospital, Bobby finally saunters into Jock's room, doesn't he? The old man surrounded by friends, cracking jokes, everyone trying their best to lift his spirits. But when Bobby steps in, Jock cuts through the noise. The whole family was here yesterday, except you, dear. The nurse tries to shoo them out, but Jock waves her off, doesn't he? It's his son, and he wants a few minutes. He tells Bobby he's already sent Ellie home to rest, then shifts the talk. He's heard Bobby's been working with Ray. Bobby says Ray needed a hand getting the cattle ready for shipping. Jock nods, but he isn't done, is he? What happened to that construction business? Bobby sidesteps. He's put it on the back burner. They'll talk when Jock gets home. But Jock presses. He doesn't want Bobby leaving Ewing Oil. Bobby pushes back. He came to see how his daddy was, not to sit through another business conference. Jock softens, but he's still clear. JR is doing fine, but he needs Bobby there too. He admits it plain. Sometimes he gets the feeling JR isn't telling him everything. Can you believe it? Right then, Pam cuts in. Cool as you like. Planning to redecorate Sue Ellen, are we? Sue Ellen bristles, asks what she's doing there, and Pam reminds her she actually lives in this house, doesn't she? Sue Ellen needles her about going back to work. Pam fires back that it's more honest than waiting for Jock to pop his clogs so Sue Ellen can play Lady of the Manor. Oh, that stings. Sue Ellen hisses she has a disgusting mouth, but Pam won't stop. Was that staircase routine just checking for termites then? Sue Ellen drops the mask, admits it outright. When she takes over, Pam's gone. Just like that. Miss Ellie enters then, steady and calm. No one's taking over, not while she's alive. She doesn't raise her voice, because she doesn't have to. She knows Sue Ellen and JR both crave power, and she's lived with that truth long enough. And with a dismissive ease, she brushes it aside, the way only Ellie can. Coffee I smell. Oh honey, JR meets Ames and Gare, and they don't waste a TikTok. They remind him how Jock swore at the Calvin Club no one would ever drill on Southfork. Everyone knows Section 40 is sitting on reserves, and they want the gospel truth. JR just shrugs it off, says his daddy talks that way to keep Miss Ellie calm, bless her heart. But they press harder, hinting Jock may not walk out of that hospital and demand the file. Can you believe the cheek? JR throws it at him, makes him read it aloud. The paper is clear as day. Upon Jock's passing, drilling rights go straight to JR. Section 40 is his, plain and simple. That settles it, just like that. The vultures stop circling. Ames and Gare nod, satisfied, their doubts put to rest. Thank goodness. One of them cracks a joke about forgery, but JR shuts it down cold as ice. He raises a glass instead, if you can believe it. A drink to Daddy's health. And with that, Ames and Gare fade out for good, leaving JR alone with the power he's just secured. The nerve of some people. Well, at the hospital, Dr. Danvers, bless his heart, he gives it to him straight. Tests show a blockage in Jock's coronary artery, love. The blood supply to his heart's just shutting down. Ellie asks the question hanging over them. Does that mean surgery? Danvers nods. Just like that. Says they'll do a bypass graft, rerouting the blood around the blockage. He admits Jock's not exactly a young man, is he? But calls him tough. Tough enough to have a good chance at a long normal life if they act now. Ellie presses for timing, and he says this morning, just like that. No waiting. Back at Southfork, the news ripples through, doesn't it? Lucy, usually quick to know everything, is rattled by how fast it's happening. She admits she didn't realize it would be so soon. Pan slips in a jab. Lucy's used to being in everyone's business, but the truth is, they're all shaken. Robbie tries to shift the mood, nodding toward a mare due to foal, reminding them new life is waiting too. Then Ray steps out with a call. It's Ellie. Bobby listens, then relays the words no one wanted to hear. Jock's scheduled for open-heart surgery this morning. Can you believe it? Oh, before the surgery, does Jock grumble about all them forms Ellie had to sign? Nobody takes responsibility anymore, he says. And if he kicks off, it'll be on him. Ellie hushes him, tired of his talk, but he breaks through with the only words that matter. I love you. She softens instantly, and the nurse steps in to take him away. In the waiting area, Bobby asks if anyone's reached JR. Sue Ellen says she left word at the office. Bobby shakes his head. He can't believe JR would be absent now of all times. Sue Ellen defends him, says he's just taking care of business. Pan asks how Jock really is, and Ellie answers plainly, scared. Though he won't admit it, Bobby offers her breakfast. She refuses. Ellie finally asks for a moment alone. Hours will pass before they know anything, and she needs space. The others give it to her, drifting off for coffee, leaving Ellie seated with her thoughts. She's the matriarch, steady as always, but for once, she lets the weight show. Inside, Dr. Danvers preps to assist Dr. Bancroft. Jock cracks a final line to break the tension. He hopes the man washed his hands. Oh, darling, while Jock's in surgery, Bobby lets some of the weight slip, does he? He tells Pam about a birthday when he came home to find a full merry-go-round in the yard. Not one of those dime store rides, mind you, but a real one. Music, mirrors, carved horses. Jock gave him everything he ever asked for. But what meant the most was time together, riding out to the office, the oil fields, just being by his father's side. Pam smiles, says they've always had a special bond. Bobby admits it's true. Ellie doted on Gary, and that left JR to carve out his place. Explains him a little, though it doesn't excuse much, does it? Then Bobby shifts, voice low. He thinks JR is up to something. Not the usual scheming, something bigger, something he doesn't want anyone to know. Pan reminds him, secrets are JR's power. That's who he is. But Bobby insists. JR keeps him out of every meeting, and lately he's been thick with Ames and Gara, the kind of men who wouldn't show up at their own mama's funeral unless they thought the Undertaker was drilling. Pam soothes him, tells him he's under too much pressure. For now, all that matters is Jock. She takes his hand, and they head back to wait. On the hospital steps, JR is still tied up with Ames and Gara, shaking hands, securing his footing. With Jock down, he's the one playing power broker, making sure the vultures leave knowing he's in control. By the time they walk off, JR looks every inch the man in charge. Well, look who it is. The family's all gathered as Jock is wheeled out of the hospital, and would you look at that? A smile, a real one, breaking across Lucy's face as she rushes to greet him. Jock teases her. She doesn't do that much anymore, and sometimes it pays to get sick, doesn't it? He thanks Sue Ellen for the flowers, says she sent enough to landscape the highway all the way to Austin, bless her heart. Then Jock puts on the brakes. Hold on now, Ellie. Bobby, are you planning to quit Ewing Oil and chase construction? Bobby sidesteps, says he's just working out at the ranch for now. Jock hears the evasion and calls it what it is. That leaves JR smirking. Looks like he'll have the office all to himself. The devil. Jock doesn't argue, doesn't push it. He just signals to Ellie that it's time to go. The patriarch is headed home, but the questions he's left hanging are just as heavy as the silence that follows. Can you believe it?
Well, wasn't that deliciously messy? Miss Kane walked you through the drama, and trust me, the secrets are just starting to spill. But don't think it's over, darling. There's always another scandal waiting in the shadows. This has been Drama After Dark. Until next time, we'll be watching. Will you?